Now, if CEOs aren't asking questions about cybersecurity issues and how they impact their company, then they're failing in their duty. Well, that's the conclusion of Ernst & Young from the Information Security Centre of Excellence at Ernst & Young. Good to have you on the programme. Quite a damning report. It seems that even as companies and CEOs out there are trying to invest in shoring themselves up against cyber attacks, they're actually on the rise.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think while there was some information that's negative there's a lot of positives to be taken from this year's report as last year, one of which being that 35% are now recognize that they're reporting into senior leadership, where before that was 0. So there are a lot of positives about increased spend, but what we're really finding is it's just not enough. The industry is moving so fast, the technology is moving so fast that the investments really need to match that. And that requires even more investment than currently happening.
So do you think that companies and CEOs out there should really take the attitude of it's not a case of if, but when a cyber attack is going to come along?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. And we say in the industry that you fit into one of two categories: those who have been breached or those who don't realize they've been breached. And that's been a fairly consistent trend going in the market these days.
Okay, so what are the top 3 things that companies out there need to be doing in order to make sure that they are best prepared for these attacks?
Yeah, I think the #1 thing we're finding now is really need senior leadership, executive support, and even at the board level, they need to be engaged with the company. And that accomplishes 2 things, really. One being it frees the company seeing their leadership supported. It frees them to innovate in the space, which is something they really need to do. And that's looking towards what's coming in the future that we don't think about now. So 5 years ago, mobile devices and bring your own device may not have been a real risk to a company, but these days it's one of the highest risks in a company. And then I think the other thing they really need to focus on is the investment and understanding that they need to have the same diligence around cybersecurity and cyber risks that they would around physical security or financial risks as they look around the globe to their business.
So just taking it much more seriously. Would you say that there are any countries or particular companies out there that are really leading the way in this?
Well, I think it really depends on the area. So you look at some of the emerging markets, and I think while the investment is a lot higher now, there's also some areas where they have a little more space to catch up in. So, historically, financial services, given that the motivations for attacks and threats around monetizing those risks, financial services have been a big target, and so therefore they've made a lot of investments and are leading in some of those areas. But we're seeing a lot of activity right now in power and utilities, life sciences companies. So really, every industry is a focus at this point as criminals become more able to monetize the risks and then go after those companies, and the threats are just different to each company.
And much more astute. Okay, Scott, many thanks for talking to us. Scott Gelber there from Ernst & Young, many thanks.